Hello, Dev. Right. So in the last tutorial, we built a recipe app with search, and in this video, we're gonna build a task manager app, and we're gonna look at some CRUD operations. That's create, read, update, delete operations. And then we're gonna look at dynamic routing and programmatic navigation. So we're gonna set up our pages, our routes. We're going to set up our tax details page, create a tax page, edit tax pages, and then we'll set up our routes. All right. So let's get started. First, let's create our home component, which will show a simple welcome message with a list of tags. So let's get started setting this up. So we're going to head over to our source directory. We're going to clear out the boilerplate CSS that's there. We're going to paste our own CSS, which is just for the nav bar. Then we're going to clear out the app, the CSS as well. Alright, so we're going to step into our directory first. So it's a cd 06 tax manager. Tax manager app. -app. Okay, once we're in our directory, we're gonna type npm run dev. All right, now our application is running in the background. Let's open it up in the browser. Our application is up and running. Let us create our home component. Let's go to our app.jsx first and move this, and then create our home component. Alright, so in our source directory, we're going to create a components folder. We're going to create a new folder, call it components. In the components folder, we're going to create our home page. It's going to be home.jsx. Alright, cool. So this home page is going to be a simple welcome message with a list of tasks to do. So we're going to say rfce. And then we're gonna display H1, call it tax manager. All right, and then let's create our tax to manage. So we're gonna say const tax is equals to an object, then say ID 1, title, create home component. All right, let's do this again. 2, create tax component. All right, so now we set up our objects with the tax. Now what we need to do is map this object to an order list. So do another list, then we say tax dot map to tax. And then we set li as the key, Here is going to be link component, but let's just leave it right now. Say key prop. So the key is going to be receive tags dot id property. So the tags dot id is the key. Then now the link, we're going to import the link from React Router DOM. So now we've imported the link. And here it's going to be tags dot title. In the link, we're going to pass in the toProp, and then we're going to say slash tags slash, and then we're going to concatenate. We're going to concatenate tags to ID. All right. All right. I think we're done. Okay, I think we're done with this. So the next step, we're going to create the tags component, and the tags component is going to have a form which will allow us to create a new tags. So in the components folder, we're going to create a new file. That file is going to be the create tags component. So it can be create tags.jsx. Right, so I already have CE. Since this is going to be a form, let's just import useState immediately. Because we'll be using states to keep track of this form. So page 1 of create tags. Cool. So let's render an input. We're just gonna take in our input. So an input bar. Then the input bar is gonna have a type search, type property of text. It's gonna have a value of title, but we've not done that yet. Then we're gonna have an unchanged event listener. Right. So this creates some state variable. You know what? Let me do placeholder first. So it's gonna have a placeholder of tags title. Is it here? Let's create some state variables. So say const equals to use state. Then we're gonna initialize this with an empty string. Right, so say const title. Then set title. Okay. Use state. Then we're going to say const another use state equals to use state. Again, we'll initialize it with an empty string. Okay, and then this is going to be const description set description and then I'm going to say const navigate. Then we're going to import the use navigate hook to use navigate hook from React Router DOM, and then we're gonna just initialize it. Okay, so we're gonna write a function. We're gonna write a function called handle submit. This will handle our submit logic. It's gonna receive an empty parameter. It's gonna be an arrow. We're gonna be logging to the CLG. We're gonna be doing some console.logs here. Move the space up. Okay, cool. So we're gonna be logging a string creating tags. To say creating tags, then we're gonna pass in title and description. So we're gonna be logging the tags that we create. Yeah, let me make this one title. I don't know why I spelled title like this. Okay, sorry. Yeah, make sure there's a comma separating this. All right. So after that, we're gonna pass in navigate, and then this navigate is going to take us to our root folder. Then down here, we're going to change the value and on change. So the value of this is going to be title, and then on change is going to receive an event. Okay, and then the event title, and then set title is going to receive e.target.value. So the value of set title is going to become the value typed inside this input, right? That's the tags title. And then we're going to create a text area. So text area. And this text area, again, is going to receive a value prop. And then this is going to be description. And then on change, so an on change event listener, which is going to receive ini, that's event. And then it's going to receive set description, e.target.value. Right. So it's we're gonna have a placeholder. Placeholder is gonna say tags description. Cool. So now we need a button to submit this. So that button is gonna call submit. Oh, let's call it create. And then this button is gonna receive an event listener called onClick, and then we're gonna call handle submit function when the button is clicked. All right. So we're done with the create tags component. We need to create a new component, and that component is going to be the tags details component. So the tags details component is going to display the tags details based on tags ID from the URL. All right, so let's create a new component and call it tags details. Oh my god, I forgot the JSX. So it's going to be tags details.jsx. So we're going to say RFCE, and then do H1 here. So above this, we're going to write our tags details. Let's say tags details. let's call it tax detail. Right, so one, the title, then title is going to be tax 1. We're going to be generic about this one. Then description is going to be description of tax 1. So we're going to copy this, do it again. This is going to be tax 2. Description of tax 2. Alright, cool. So yeah, this is going to be tax.title. This is don't worry, we've not created the tax variable yet. So the tax variable is actually going to come from const tax, and then we need to import something. So we're going to import use parameter. So we're going to say import use params from React Router done. Right. So const tax is going to equals, we didn't do something before this. So we're going to say const tax ID. Tax ID is going to equals use parameters, and then we're going to initialize the use parameter. So const tax now is going to be tax details, and then tax ID. So we're going to have tax ID here. All right, so now this is going to be tax.title. So we're getting this tax.title, and then we're going to have a paragraph tag, which is going to be tax.description. All right, so now we need to create the link. So let's import a link component from React Router DOM, of course. So we're going to create the link. This link is going to be called edit tax, and then we're going to pass into toProp. I'm going to concatenate some values. So we're going to say slash tax slash tax ID slash edit. Okay, we're done with the tax details. Simply you have an error. It's expecting an expression. Yeah, oh my god. There was no parameter. Sorry guys, there's not meant to be a parameter here. Messed up. There's no parameter here. Alright, this is supposed to just contain this. There's no meant to be a parameter there. Alright, cool. So now we have to create another component. We're going to create, and this is the tax details component. So, and then this link goes to the edit tax. So now we actually have to create this route, which is the edit tax. So we go to components, and then we're going to create a new file. It's going to be edit tags.jsx. Alright, so this edit tags is going to be a font to edit existing tags. So RSCE. Then from React, I think we're going to import useState to keep track. Not callback. UseState. Alright. So we have a H1 edit tags. I think we're going to copy this. So we're going to get tax ID. Say const at tax ID. You know, let's make sure every tax is in sync. Let's make this tax one. So I'm just changing this up so that all the tags will be in sync. Error. So tax ID. This is going to be use params. We're going to import use params hook. Alright. So then I say const navigate. We're going to be importing use navigate. We're going to use state right now. So we're going to say const goes to use state. And then we're going to pass in tax details. Then tax ID. And then we're going to dot title. Okay, and then in here is going to be title, set title. Then I say const, create another state variable, const description, but let's do this first, equals to use state, initialize it. And it's going to be initialized with tax detail, then tax ID, then dot description. Okay, so then here is going to be the description, set description. All right. So I think we're done with the state variables. There's some space here. So this edit tags component is going to have some input and then a text area as well. So let's say input bar text area element. All right, so this input bar is going to be a type search. A type, keep messing this up, text. Type text, a value of title. And then on change, we're going to have an event lister on change. and it's going to receive an event, which is E. And then we're going to call set title. And then we're going to pass in the E, the target, dot value. Alright, and then we'll have a placeholder, since a tax title. Alright, our text area is going to be similar, but we're going to have a value. And the value is going to be description. And then we're going to have an event listener. It's going to be on change. Oh my god. Can be on change, and again it's going to receive an event. Right, so it's going to be set description, and then I'm going to pass E dot target dot value. Call placeholder. The placeholder is going to be tax description. Alright. We're going to have a button that's going to be save. Supposed to save tax when we're done editing it. So we're going to have an event listener that's going to be on click. And then we need to call handle save. No, we actually have to define handle save. So here we're gonna go like const handle save equals to an empty parameter, and then we're just gonna say console clg, also the log. We're going to concatenate some values, so we just say updating tax, and then we're going to concatenate tax ID, and then we're going to concatenate title, title, and then we're going to concatenate description, and then we're going to use navigate. This. I think we imported use navigate, right? So we're going to navigate after this. So after it's done logging, we're going to navigate to the tax /ID. So we're going to call navigate, and then we're going to navigate to /tax, then concatenate tax ID. Alright, I think we're done with the edit tax component. Now let's define our routes. Alright, so before we define our routes here, let's head over to our main.jsx, and then we're going to import browser router, say Ctrl D, so import browser router from React Router DOM. Make sure it's imported above. Then we're going to go to our app.jsx and begin defining our routes. It's the final piece of the puzzle. So we're going to import some stuff. We're going to import routes first from React Router DOM, then route, then the link component. Oops. All right. So we're going to have a navbar instead. Have a navbar. So you're going to have a link. So this one is going to receive a toProp, and then this toProp is going to link to the home page. And I'm going to say home. So the next one is going to link to the create tags. And then passing 2 as well. This is going to be /tags /create. Okay. So now we'll define our routes. And then so we're going to say routes. So within the route, we're going to define our route. Okay, so we're going to first create the home route. So we're going to say path. We're going to pass in path. Then we're going to import our component inside this element. So we're going to say home. Make sure it's imported above. So now we define home. We're just going to copy this. I'm going to define 3 more routes. 1, 2, 3. All right. So this one is going to be a relative link. It's going to be tags /create. And then the element is going to be create tags. It's going to be a create tags component. And again, make sure it's imported above. And this guy, it's also going to be a relative link. It's going to be tags. This is where we're going to get the ID from. So it's going to be tags ID. And our element is going to be tags details. Again, make sure it's imported above. And then this is going to be a relative link as well. It's going to be tags. This is tags. Sorry, there's an S here. Tags details. So this is tags. And then this is going to be tags ID /edit. Okay, and then this is going to be edit tags component. Okay, make sure that's imported. All right, let's test this out. So we're going to go to the create tags component. In the create tags component, we're going to create a tag called new tags. Just open up our console.log because we're basically logging these values. So let's see it when we're done. Oh, we have an error. E is not defined. Where? Where is E not defined? We have an error. Chunks. Where is E? Okay. I'm not seeing where the error is from. Well, let's try creating new tags. New tags. Created 1. Say create. Creating tags. now new tax while I created one. So it seems the create tax works. It logs the value properly. Let's test out. Let's navigate to tax one. Description of tax one. Let's try and edit tax one. I'm gonna say not the description of tax one. We're just gonna change this out. Not the description of tax one. All right, let's look at our console. So when we save this, we get an error. Tax ID is not defined. This is code in our edit tax.jsx. All right, so we have an error. Tax ID is not defined. So we're gonna head over to edit tax, figure out what's going on. Saying tax ID is not defined. We need to first of all move this handle safe. Yeah, this handle safe is outside. That's a big no-no. Made a mistake. Handle safe should not be outside the scope. That should possibly fix this. So I'm gonna inspect again our element or reload this. Call this new tax. You see new tax one, description of new tax. When you hit save, okay, updating tax one, new tax, description of new tax. All right, let's go back. Let's navigate back to home, tax two. Description of tax 2. Let's hit edit tax. Now the values doesn't change per se, but it does log when we do something new. So like when we go back, it's not going to show a new value, but it's gonna not log it. It's gonna say new tax 2. Description of new tax 2. When you hit save, it's going to say updating tax 2, new tax 2, description, new tax 2. So we're logging the values, but there's no change here. There's no change here either. The same thing is for tax 1. There's no change here, but we are logging the values. So we're logging the values instead of like updating this. But everything pretty much works as it should work. Everything is working nice. It's cool. All right, that's it for the tax manager application. And then for our final project, we're going to build the multi-step form with navigation. That's it. Thank you.